What's up, everyone? We have a filing to talk about out of ICE, which is the Intercontinental Exchange, actually the parent company of the NYSE Group, and it's SRICEEU 2021-026. Let's go ahead and take a look. Ooh, snowflake. Okay, so this one is scheduled to be published on the 11th, which is Wednesday, I believe. And ICE Clear Europe Limited notice of filing and immediate effectiveness of proposed rule change relating to amendments to the ICE Clear Europe. I'm sorry, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 11th. So yeah, they're going to be proposing a rule change relating to amendments to the ICE Clear Europe Futures and Options Default Management Policy. So the purpose, ICE Clear Europe is proposing to amend its F&O default management policy to 1. Further describe certain aspects of the background UK legal framework applicable to default management. Update the composition of the clearinghouse's default management committee. Remove as unnecessary certain operational steps ICE Clear Europe will take in order to suspend a default's trading access. Update and clarify the procedures relating to hedging or liquidation of a defaulter's positions. Remove certain details around the auction process that are set out in other clearinghouse documentation. Clarify certain procedures for intergroup information sharing, revise the description of the clearinghouse's default testing, revise and remove certain appendices in accordance with other changes made in the policy, and lastly, make other various drafting clarifications and improvements. So, procedures for suspending the trading access of a defaulting clearing member would also be clarified. The amendments would clarify that the clearinghouse may, but is not obligated to, instruct the relevant market surveillance department and help desk to disable trading excesses of the defaulter. The amendments would also remove certain operational details as to the business hours of the ICE help desk and the scope of denial of trading access that the clearinghouse believes are unnecessary for the policy. The amendments are not intended to reflect a change in practice, but further describe document existing practice. Amendments would also remove provisions relating to an interest rate swap default management committee, which are not used as the clearinghouse does not clear the interest rate swaps, or the clearinghouse doesn't even clear those swaps, so there's no reason to have a committee for it. So in the section relating to identifying and hedging market exposure from the defaulter's positions, amendments would add that the clearinghouse may seek to delta hedge the positions. Everyone's talking about delta hedging right now. I'm telling you, don't do it. Delta hedging the positions through its exchanges, in addition to conducting such hedging through brokers, as referenced in the current policy. The amendments would also remove a statement that priority should be given to hedging products contributing the greatest original margin requirement. ICE Clear Europe does not believe the limitation is necessary, as the hedging strategy should help take into account the particular circumstances and market conditions at the time. Next, provisions addressing the treatment of physically deliverable positions nearing expiry would be updated to clarify that once a default has been declared, the operations department would be responsible for taking control and may suspend delivery settlements due back to the defaulter to implement the clearinghouse's existing rights under the rules. Amendments would also clarify that while the clearinghouse may need to close out positions prior to the commencement of the delivery process, it would not necessarily be obligated to do so. In the clearinghouse's view, this change would provide appropriate flexibility in managing such positions of a defaulter. Now, the section relating to liquidation of remaining positions would be amended to reference all positions, not merely house positions, but to remove certain details about specific hedging strategies and to remove a statement as to the order of preference of different options. ICE Clear Europe believes that it is appropriate in default management to have flexibility as to the particular type of hedging or liquidation actions to be taken in light of the nature of the positions and market conditions at the time, and accordingly is not desirable to state in advance which default management option is preferable. Yeah, because you don't want people that actually read this stuff finding out what you're doing. That's exactly why. Now, amendments would also provide that the clearinghouse default management committee may seek advice from third-party traders. There it is. They're going to get help from the big players. In addition to traders of non-defaulting clearing members, with respect to liquidating the positions in a complex trading book. Section 10.1, the intergroup information sharing, would be amended to remove certain details about coordination between ICE group entities that ICE Clear Europe believes are unnecessary under the policy. As proposed to be revised, the ICE Clear Europe president would remain responsible for notifying counterparts at other ICE group entities or the defaulters active in other relevant markets. Specific details about the persons to be notified and relevant backup personnel have been removed as unnecessary for the policy. And then lastly here we have Appendix B, which is trade procedure, formerly Appendix C, would be updated in respect to the description of the frequency of certain trade tests. Specifically, the amendments would provide that test trades would take place according to the multi-year default management plan instead of monthly or quarterly. So basically, we have changes in default policy, hedging strategies with options, member defaults, auction processes for those defaults, and information sharing changes. What do you think is going to happen? Well, obviously, they're ramping up for some kind of market volatility event, and I can't wait for that because that is exactly what we've been, what we're waiting on here in the group. So, anyways, that's the only filing I saw today with relevance. So, anyways, you all have a good one.